For those of you that are staying on board with us for this after hours session, we are going to turn things over to Laura Lever. She joins us from the Citrix Online team. What we do in these after hours sessions, obviously you just heard us go through a webinar. We use the GoToWebinar tool to present that. We hopefully shared with you a lot of ways you can use the tool by the way that we used it, right? We don't want to just tell you to do things. We want to try and demonstrate those, and that's what we've done. And Laura's here to share even more, go a little bit deeper into the benefits of a tool like GoToWebinar. So we're happy to have Laura here. We're just going to take about 10 minutes for this after hours session. So with that, Laura, looks like we've popped on over to your machine and
yes.
The slides up there. So welcome. I'll turn it over to you and we'll chat for a few.
Great, thanks so much. That was a great presentation, really hilarious actually to some points. So I'm going to try my best as I go through this not to hit any of the 7 deadly sins as I give you a quick insight to the technology that was hosting this event and how we can use something like GoToWebinar to really be effective with our presentations, to come across as authentic as we present in there, to help those short attention spans with quick changes in your presentations and really just allow you to present and focus on what your content is rather than worrying about the tool. So we're going to just give you a quick overview on the webinar side of things today. And we really design our tools on GoToWebinar in a 4-method fashion here. We want them to be simple to use. We want to give you great experiences. Again, you don't want to have to worry about the tool you're using. You want to be able to focus on the content and effective delivery of that content. Our technology is built for business, and it really does work for everyone. You could be a very sufficient technical user, or you could be a very low-end user, someone who doesn't run into technology often, and you're going to be able to successfully use GoToWebinar to present to your audiences. We have 2 types of products on the collaboration side. We were using GoToWebinar today to really target your audience, then present effectively to your audience, and then provide some back-end reporting. We also have a tool called GoToMeeting, which allows you for quick impromptu online meetings where you can share and collaborate in a very easy way. So we are used to hosting hundreds of meetings, webinars a day. Actually, it's more in the thousands, but all of this is going to allow you as an end user to have lower cost, increased sales, and an improved reputation. That's just a quote we got from Business Wire. Again, focusing on our easy-to-use product is really going to allow you to effectively work on what you need to in terms of presenting out to your audience, getting to your audience. We're going to help you with planning. I'll show you how we set up an event like today's event, the tools we use for presenting out to you, and how we then analyze the results of all the attendees who were in a large event like what we had today. The easy steps that we're able to walk through are going to be just scheduling a webinar. You simply only have to give it a detail, branding and theme, and a registration page to get people set up. So it's a very simple process to create something. Once we have created an event, it's going to allow us to repurpose existing templates so you don't have to set it up time and time again. You can create multiple events at one time, so if you have a recurring event, you can certainly share it out to one person, and they only have to register once in order to attend all multiple events, or they could register to attend different sessions. So there's a lot of flexibility built into GoToWebinar. In terms of the details, you may have toggled between some of the options you had today for audio on your audio pane, but we have the options for VoIP. We also have options for long distance and toll-free dial-in numbers. So if you find your bandwidth is constricted in any way, it might be more effective to dial in. But we certainly have those as free offerings with every event that you would host with GoToWebinar, and it allows people who are in far away remote locations to use a very effective means of connecting into an online event. You simply click on a link to get connected in, and it's going to recognize your mic and speakers. Ideally, you have a headset to use with it for effective audio communications, but the audio is a nice feature we include in. And today when we started our event, we have co-organizers and panelists. You may have noticed if you asked a question, you had multiple people responding to it. We have people who can come in a speaking role, while the thousands of attendees who are out there are going to be in a muted way, in a lecture-only mode, so you can control how you interact with them. So you may have noticed we use things like polls and hand raising to allow you to communicate with us today, and certainly the text that we read in the question and answer comes into play, and those are the organizers who are moderating all of that. We have branding built in, so you can upload your custom logos, your custom images, and really promote your brand. You want to give it the look and feel of your organization. We can narrow that right down to your company color. What you finally create when you set up an event is a registration page. You know, this is going to help you target the right people, profile your audience. You have an idea based on the questions you've asked when someone hits a registration page, who to expect in your event. If it is the appropriate audience, you'll have a customized form with a very detailed focus listed here. So it's very easy to invite and remind people. Automatic reminders go out. Invitations are pushed right to your inbox with straightforward communication as to how to invite others. You will have this customized theme that you've created for all automatic correspondence for inviting once they're registered for an event, once they get their reminder for an event, and even in the follow-up messages as well. We also have the ability to remind people. Again, those could be text, those could be HTML. We give you every aspect that you would need from planning and presenting. Now we're going to talk a little bit about presenting. This is what we use today. Quite a robust tool that we have on the organizer and panelist side. This is where we could see the questions coming in, answer them, see our attendee list so we know who is out there. We could see if someone's raised their hand. We can see if someone's attentive. We can see if someone has asked a question, all at a glance. So we can simply have that minimized to the right-hand side of our screen so it doesn't interfere with our presentation, hide what we don't want to share out, but it allows us to interact in a very straightforward way with our audience. We have very simple controls for sharing our screen. Look like the old VCR buttons of the 80s, stop, play, pause, and we're able to pass around the presentation tools very easily as well. We have annotation built in where you can use pens, highlighters, arrows to emphasize your point. We also can receive immediate feedback via Q&A. You saw how Roger and James were probing the audience today and gathering feedback and interjecting when appropriate. We could find out what location you were in and the topics that were important to you. So here's an example of the Q&A pane that we used today. Again, we're monitoring the attentiveness, the hand raise. We have the ability to unmute attendees. As you saw when we unmuted the volunteer, the other Laura there, she was able to practice that voice effectiveness, and that was just a simple right-click on her name to unmute her. There's a close-up. So the total audio solution that we mentioned is seamlessly integrated. It's convenient, it's free, it's part of the service as you subscribe to it, and it makes a lot of sense for people hosting events like this. It gives you the options that you need to communicate out with your audience. It's a very simple process, and now we want to talk about analyzing. So after an event takes place, what we're going to be able to do is look at the results. We're going to be able to run some very complex and detailed reports or simple reports that tell us the effectiveness of our event. We'll also be able to have automatic follow-up to our attendees. We can see if we wanted to go out anywhere from a day to a week to an hour after an event. We can include links to recordings if we've chosen to do so. And all of that is automatic. It will be sent to the attendees' inbox. We also have APIs with the products that allow us to integrate in with some very standard technology partners. People like Eloqua, HubSpot, Marketo have out-of-the-box integrations, and we also have an open API, a developer center, where you can create, with our REST APIs, an integration into any third-party product. Let me go ahead and click on the next slide here. This again is an example of some of the automatic processes that could take place, survey information, performance details being exported out, or perhaps registrations being imported in. So we run at Citrix thousands of mobile sessions every week. We're very used to hosting the service. It's very scalable. It's very easy to get started. We have the online administrative center where we can do centralized deployment, custom settings, and we have 24/7 tech support that's always available to help answer your questions. We have an on-demand support site, and we even have consultant services to help you get started and build your success. So one of the great advantages we have at Citrix is that we are simple to use. We're built for great experiences, we're built for business, and it works for everyone. And that's it. I thank you for those of you who were able to stay on for this after hours. Thanks for using GoToWebinar today.
And Laura, thank you. And again, folks, you can get more online at gotowebinar.com. And one of the things that I'll just say here from a standpoint of someone who moderates a lot of these events, is able to produce and work with people that are working with these tools for the first time, I can tell you this is one of the easiest tools for me to use to train people to use. It's something that if they're going to use it once a month, once a quarter, you don't really forget much. It's a pretty simple, easy layout. There's some other tools I've worked on that are just a little bit harder to do, that you kind of have to be a power user using it all the time. That being said, the more you use this, and Laura, this has been my experience, the more I use it, the more I figure out easier ways, things like prioritizing all those questions. You showed how it can be broken out. What I end up doing is by right-clicking on someone's name, like Robin is still in here with me. If I want to flag her question, I can do a right-click. I can set a flag priority, and then I can go back, right-click again, and assign the question to me, and then I can prioritize and sort things out. Some people had asked during the event, how do you quickly look through so many of the questions and know what you want to do? What did we have? We had something, I don't know, it was like 900 questions came in total between Q&A, actual questions, and that's interacting with you folks and you folks telling us where you were. By flagging things and easily moving things around, that is a great way for me to sort things out. And again, it's a real easy thing to use. So, Laura, that's feedback from me, and I'm sure that's something you've heard from a lot. The ease of use really goes a long way with GoToWebinar.
It absolutely does. It's great to hear. That's the idea. Focus on that great content, all the great tips that you have been giving out, and just make it a no-brainer.
Yeah. Well, hey, folks, again, we appreciate you staying for this after-hours session. All of you will get the reminder email that will bring you back to the full event, all of Roger Corville's content from the 7 Deadly Sins, as well as hearing again what Laura has shared with us. So, Scott, thank you for being on board from beginning to end. Scott saying here, hey, thanks for all the great information. So you're welcome, Scott, and everyone else. We are going to wrap things up. Don't forget, fill out that survey. 7 folks are going to be picked at random for that new book from Roger. So with that, we will wrap things up. Have a great rest of your day. Again, my name is James Hilliard, and we look forward to talking to you all down the road.
The organizer has ended the session, and this call will be disconnected. Goodbye.